Because also, I don't mean to play the oppression Olympics, but being a black woman is so freaking hard for no freaking reason because you people are insufferable. Insufferable. Especially black men. I cannot. I'm gonna bang against the table. I can't. Black men, I cannot stand some of them because black men have the biggest hatred for black women, and I don't understand why. Because you know what's crazy? When men have mommy issues, they hate on women and want to kill us. When women have daddy issues, we just pick the wrong men to date. I don't understand the balance and I don't. I don't understand the power dynamic. I'm gonna have a mental breakdown. I can't. Oh, I'm not being out of focus. Okay, it's in focus now. Alright. Syncing the mic and audio in 3, 2, 1. Alright, I hope that worked. Okay. Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast, Random Chats with Ananda. I'm your host, Ananda Cash, and if the video looks a bit different, I'm using my new camera. I don't think I used my new camera in the last podcast I filmed, which is probably going to go up after this one. But I have a new camera now, and I love it. But I'm looking at the viewfinder and not the actual camera. I gotta get used to that. I don't know. I gotta look at the camera, cause them YouTubers, they will have the flip screen and then they look at the viewfinder because they're looking at themselves instead of the camera. Now I'm doing that, so I have to look at the camera. Hi, hello. Okay, so in today's podcast, we're gonna talk about what everyone else is talking about on the internet, the Barbie and Oppenheimer movies, but I'm going to talk about specifically the Barbie movie. I might make another episode about Oppenheimer, like a YouTube video about Oppenheimer. I'm not sure. But I did enjoy Oppenheimer. I thought Oppenheimer was a good movie. I feel like it didn't get as much hype as Barbie, obviously, because Barbie, they did the thing with the press, they did the thing with the production, they did the thing with everything. And I feel like Oppenheimer got enough press to make people be excited to watch it, and then people watched it. I gave Oppenheimer a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a really good movie. I definitely would watch it a second time. Now, when I saw Barbie was a different. I think the reason why I liked it so much, part of it is because I wasn't expecting to feel the way I felt coming out of, I went into the movie being very excited, hoping that it was a really good movie, and I came out feeling like a different human being. I felt like a different person. Not in a bad way, but in a good way. I felt like I learned so much about women and the power of friendships and just women wanting to just be human beings, and it was just kind of really insane and crazy, and I'm gonna talk about it. But before I go into that, I kind of want to do a little life update, not a life update, but just update about what happened for the past week. So in last week, today is 26, actually a week ago, I went to go see Dominic Fike in concert with my 2 friends, and Dominic Fike is just out. He's one of those performers that he knows how to perform. He knows how to put on a good show. The only con I had with the concert was just the fact that it was outside, so it was really hot, and there was so many people because it was general admission, so it was just everyone's just standing up on each other, and it was just so hot and sweaty. That was the only con. I didn't get to fully enjoy the concert as much as I wanted to because it was so surrounded by so many people. So that was just also, this was the first time, usually in general admission, occasionally there will be those 1 or 2 people or 3 that pass out during the concert. You have to stop the whole show, have them get some water, get them out the crowd, get some help, yada yada yada. Every time when that's happened, I've always just seen it from a distance. Now tell me why this time. Not only was I near them, there was 2 girls that one of them passed out, one of them almost did, but didn't. They were literally right next to me. The first girl, that passed out, she was actually like coming through the crowd. Like her and her friend were like going through the crowd, and then I was with two of my friends, but me and one of my friends were standing next to each other, while my other friend was behind us, because that's just how we ended up being positioned. So we were pretty close, so like I could just turn around, my friend's right there. But then these two girls are going through the crowd. I'm thinking they're looking for their friend, because usually if you're going through a crowd, it's because you're looking for your friend that like saved the spot for you guys further up, which is fine. You say excuse me, looking for a friend. Concert etiquette. But then there's some people that just go to the crowd just because they want to get in the front, and you can tell because these two girls are trying to get in the front, so I'm seeing them going through, and then I'm looking at the girl that's behind me, and I'm looking at her like, you trying to get through or something? Because you, first of all, you didn't even say excuse me. Second of all, you don't look like you're looking for a friend. You're really just trying to get in the front. And then I turned around and I just looked at her, and she was like, oh, I was just waiting for you to like, you can step right here. And then mind you, the girl, my friend that's behind me now, she's right in between us, and I'm just like, okay. So I just stood, and then I just looked at her, and I was like, are you okay? She was like, yeah, she's fine. Like, talking to my friend. So then that happened. Then, like, sometime later, there's this freaking conga line of, like, five girls just, like, trying to mush through the crowd without saying excuse me, just pushing through. And my friend that's next to me, now she's being pushed by them because they just was ramming through people, not saying excuse me, just trying to get through, because they were trying to get to their friends, but none of them said excuse me. None of them were like, oh, sorry, we're trying to see our friend. Like, they were just pushing through, and everyone was looking at them like, what is wrong with you? Like, are you dumb? Like, what's going on? So then they got stuck because the people in front of them won't let them go through any further. So then they did actually have friends that were like almost right next to them, but like they were like, let's say the girls were here and their friends were like here, but they couldn't go any further. And so they're like, oh, we're stuck, this and that. And it's like, yeah, because you didn't say excuse me, you just pushing people around, you idiot. How about you actually learn some manners so you could get through to your friends? Whatever. So then they just end up staying there. So then they were just there. Then they like reaching over people to get to their friends, like get stuff for their friends. And at one point they just start smoking a joint, and I'm just like, you went through all this pushing, and then you're just gonna be blowing smoke at people's faces. I was just like, oh man, whatever. So the reason why I mentioned these things is because the two girls that were like the first one that passed out, she was the girl that got between me and my friend, so she passed out right behind me. And I turn around, and all I hear is, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I turn around, this girl's on the floor. And I was like, oh, she passed out. Like, she passed out. And then my friend was just there like, oh my gosh. So, like, she kind of fell on her. Like, I think there was one other person between them, but basically the girl practically fell on my friend. And I felt so bad. I was just like, oh my gosh. So then they're like, oh, like, give her some water, get her like a fan or something. So then some girl asked my friend, oh, do you have water for her? And she's like, do I have water for her? Like, whatever. So then someone gave her water, and then she was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry, like, this and that, blah, blah. And we're like, don't apologize. Like, you passed out. We're like, are you good? Like, do you need water? Do you need a fan? Like, do you need help? Do you need to go somewhere? So then she's like, oh, it's okay if I just sit down. We're like, yeah, sit down. Like, go ahead. So then she sat down. And this was during the opener, mind you. Dominic hasn't even come out yet. The opener just came out. He's playing. So then she sat down for the opener, and until Dominic came, then she stood back up. So she's sitting down. So then the opener's over. The opener was kind of mid in my opinion. Like, just wasn't my taste of music. He was alright. I was kind of bored, I'm not gonna lie. And plus the heat wasn't helping. So then we're waiting for Dominic to come. While we're waiting for Dominic to come, the girl that was in the conga line, one of the girls, she looks like she's about to pass out next, because she's like telling her friend, I don't feel so good. Then she's squatting on the floor. And me and my friend are looking like, uh-oh. So my friend, we both had fans. I had like a, I could get in my bag, but I had like the fan that you just turn the button on and it's just like a fan. And then my friend had a fan like you like open and you like fan yourself. So my friend gave the girl her fan so she could like fan herself. One of her friends gave her some water to drink. And I was gonna give her my fan because you could like speed up the speeds on my fan to like use. And I was like, does she need water? Does she need a fan? Like, what's going on? The girl ended up not passing out. She ended up being fine, but like she looked like she was about to pass out. And I'm just there like, of course, the two people that pushed to get in the area that we're in, they're the ones that pass out. And my friend just kept being like, GA's not for the weak. And I was like, no, for real. Because there was one time where I was on the verge of passing out, but that's because I was sitting up for like 6 hours straight and I had no food in my system. But I was like, I refuse to pass out at this concert and then miss the whole show. I was like, I refuse. So I thugged it out. And then once, and it was for Wallows, mind you, that was like last year, which was still one of the best concerts I ever went to. Then once Wallows came on, like the, what was it, the adrenaline of seeing them I was fine. I was fine throughout the rest of the concert. So, but yeah, but I never passed out during the concert. I mean, I understand, like, it's hot, it's sweaty, especially if you have no food in your system or you're really dehydrated. Like, I'm usually on the verge of passing out just by being outside. So imagine being outside in the heat with no water or food in your system. Girl. Anyway, so that happened. And then the concert happened, and I was under the impression that I would be at the barricade and that Dominic would see me see him, and then he would want me to go on stage, we'd sing a song or two, and he would fall in love with me. Didn't happen, but whatever. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it, I guess. But no, it was really fun. I had a great time. I was with my 2 friends. And then the weekend, I went to visit my friends, and we saw Barbie and Oppenheimer, and it was a great time. So now we could talk about Barbie, because I literally was trying to figure out what I wanted to like talk about for this podcast, because I was kind of in between like 2 different topics I wanted to talk about, and then I kept scrolling through TikTok at like 1 a.m. last night, and I kept seeing people. The reason why I went to go see Barbie last weekend, because last weekend was an opening weekend for Barbie and Oppenheimer, and I was like, I have to see both these movies this weekend, because if I don't, people are going to spoil it on social media, and I'm gonna be mad if I see spoilers. So that's why I was like, I have to see it this weekend, and I had to see with friends, because I feel like these are movies that you can't see by yourself. So I'm glad I saw both of them with friends and stuff. With Barbie, if you don't know what Barbie the movie is about, you can Google the synopsis. Also, I will say, this is a warning, spoilers. I will say what the movie's about. I will talk about certain scenes. So if you haven't watched it and you plan on watching at some point, don't watch this video. Like and subscribe, and then just like come back to this when you watched it. But I will talk about the movie and give details and spoilers. So just a heads up. I don't know if I'm gonna talk about Oppenheimer, but like just in case, I might spoil that too. So if I do, then just beware. But yeah, so Barbie, I honestly wanted to see it because I knew everyone else was gonna see it, and I was like, I want to see it too. At first, I saw the trailers, and I was like, oh, it's a Barbie movie, okay, whatever. But then the more I was watching the trailer, I was like, I kind of want to watch that. Like, I'm intrigued to see what they're gonna do with the movie. And then, okay, so as the trailers are going on, you're watching the movie, and I'm like, okay, I kind of want to see it. So with the soundtrack, let's talk about the soundtrack of Barbie. Because I know y'all know that song that Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice made together. That song, please, when I heard it for the first time, I was like, okay, like, the song is good. And mind you, the song's like 1 minute and 50 seconds. And it's just, I can't even begin to describe how good the soundtrack, the song itself, is just so good. Like, some of the lyrics, like, what was one of the lyrics? I know one of the lyrics, the iconic lyric that Ice Spice says, like, I keep dragging her so she bald a bit. I'm like, oh my goodness. But also the beat of the song, it just makes the shoulder just like I was thinking in my head, like, there's only one way to dance to that song, and it's just, you just like pushing your shoulder in, because there's like, I just can't. Like, you literally just had to put your whole shoulder into it. And it's like, if you're not dancing that way, you're not dancing to it the right way. The song is just that good. It's just iconic. It's just good. It's just great. I love the song. It's just such a good song. And it's also, for me, I really like the song because, first of all, it's 2 iconic, like, rappers putting a song together. And also, I also think it's funny because, like, I've been told by, like, 2 separate people that, like, I look like both Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice. So I thought it was funny for me to see 2 people that people claim I look like making a song together. I thought it was kind of cool. But yeah, that song, I think it's called Barbie. I think it was iconic. But also, like, when I think about it, I'm like, of course they would tell Nicki Minaj to make a song for the Barbie movie. That girl's been calling herself a Barbie since her career started. Like, come on. It only made sense for her to have a song. And then to have it with Ice Spice, I was like, girl. They did that thing. They did that. And that song was stuck in my head for like days. And I was like, that song is good. Also, my batteries like look like it's about to die. It was on like 2 bars. But I'm gonna just keep going. If I have to switch angles or like camera quality, hey, that's how it is. But yeah, so that song is really, really good. Then, you also look at the soundtrack itself. Now, what's also funny is that Dominic Fike also has a song in the soundtrack, but it ain't played in the movie. Because I watched the movie twice. I watched the movie on Friday and on Sunday, and I listened to it the second time to see if the song would pop up. Didn't pop up once. It's just on the soundtrack for the movie, which I guess is fine, but I was waiting to hear it. Because when his song and into the, what is it, Beyond the Spider-Verse popped up with Mona Lisa, Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I remember hearing it. I listened to the song before it came out because I know the cover for the song at the time before his album came out was like, I made a song for a for a superhero movie. This is the cover for now. And I heard it and I was like, oh, this song is so good. Then I heard it in the movie and I was like, oh. First of all, I can make a whole other podcast episode about freaking into Beyond the Spider-Man animation. I also saw that movie twice because it was just, I can't even begin to describe how amazing that movie was. It was just impeccable. I can't begin to it. I'm talking about Barbie. But into the second Spider-Man movie, the animation, I feel like was better than Tom Holland's Spider. First of all, I've come to the conclusion, after seeing Tom Holland's Spider-Man, like the first one, I come to the conclusion that Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. Like, I'm pretty sure at some point I'm going to get a Spider-Man tattoo. Like, to be completely honest. I love Spider-Man. I love this since Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. Don't make me sorry, Andrew Garfield. Don't make me sorry. And then Tom Holland. Like, I feel like Tom Holland was most relatable because of the age. Because he was a high schooler. And he was the closest one to my age when I was watching him at the time. Also, who doesn't love Tom Holland? He's such a cutie and a gem. He's so cute. Also, his birthday's in June. His birthday's June 1st. I'm like, okay, Tom. Okay. So, I love that. I love Tom. And I respect Zendaya so much. Love Zendaya. Love her, the queen herself. I love Tom. He's such a cutie. Where was I going with this? Yeah, so when I was talking about Dominic Fike. Yeah, so when I heard his song in Beyond the Spider-Verse, I was like, oh my god, that sounds so good. Also, when he performed Mona Lisa at the concert, I was like, ah! Oh, I love the song. That's like that song. My top 3 songs from Dominic himself is Mona Lisa, Politics and Violence, and Whirly. Top 3. And then I will also say 3 Nights because it's the iconic one. And it's funny because when I saw Dominic Fike in December of last year, I was hoping he would play 3 Nights and then he didn't. And I was like, oh, that's sad. But it's okay. Then I saw him performing at Coachella and I was like, oh, so you can perform at Coachella, but you can't perform it in New York. I was like, okay, I'll see. I was sad. I was like, oh man, I missed it. Then he performed it at the concert last week, and I turned to my friend. I was like, he's playing 3 Nights. I was so happy. Oh! Anyway, I love Dominic Fike. Dominic Fike, I don't know. I highly doubt you're watching this, but if it's somehow in God's plan for you to watch this, hi. Big fan. Would love for you to be the main lead in my movie coming up. So if you're interested, let me know. But yeah, so I was listening for his song and Barbie, and it didn't pop up, which is fine. But you know, the funny thing about that is that I listened to that song on the way to go see my friends, because I went to go visit my friends. I stayed there with my friends for the weekend so we could go watch the movie together. And on my way to go to my friend's house, I listened to the song like I think once or twice, and then literally at the end of that night, my friends were playing music in the car, and I heard one note of the song. I was like, that's the song Hey Blondie by Dominic. And I didn't even see it on the car screen yet. And I looked, and I was like, it is. I knew it. The fact that I knew the note by listening to it only 2 times says everything. Anyway, well, so it says Hey Blondie. And I'm like, I have blonde hair. He talking about me. I was delusional. It's okay. I'm aware of it. It's fine. Anyway, oh my gosh, my camera's gonna die. It's on 1 bar. And my other phone's dead, so I can't record audio on that. Oh my gosh. I didn't even talk about the Barbie movie and my phone's... I can't have a win. I should have charged this while it's literally gonna die on me if I continue recording on this. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I don't know what to do. Hold on, I'm gonna figure this out. Okay, I figured it out. I just had to find a way how to get the camera to record while charging. We're good. We're good to go. Okay, so I kind of forgot what I was talking about, if I'm being honest. But let's just get into the Barbie movie. Okay, so like I said, the soundtrack to the Barbie movie is iconic with Nicki Minaj's An Ice Spice song. Came out, you got your shoulder pounding. It's a good time. So the rest of the songs, the ones that played in the movie actually are pretty good too. one of my I think my favorite song that played in the movie was Charlie XCX's song with the chase scene. That song is actually really good because I remember watching the movie and I was like, this song's kind of good. And then my friends were also like, the song was really good, so we looked it up on Spotify to see what song it was, and we just like was playing it on repeat like on the car ride after. But yeah, so the soundtrack is pretty good with the movie, so that's a plus. You know, a movie with a good soundtrack is always a good time. But let's talk about what the movie actually is about. Now, I remember my review of the movie. Like, I really downloaded Letterboxd because my friends have been telling me to download it for a while since, like, I love movies and love critiquing them. They're like, you should download Letterboxd and give reviews on it. So then I finally downloaded it because I remember because they told me they was like, download Letterboxd and then give your review on Barbie right now. I was like, okay, you got it. So I want to see if I could go to find out what I said on the app exactly. One second. I don't want you to give me notifications. My review on Barbie was, first of all, I give it 5 out of 5 stars because anything less than 5 stars is inaccurate. I said, it's a movie made by a woman for a woman and can teach men a lesson. If you left the movie disliking it, it's probably because you're the problem they're making fun of. Get it together if you didn't get the message of the movie. If you did enjoy it, welcome to the Barbie community and I hope you have a great time. That was my review after I saw it for the first time. Like, that was my immediate thought about it. And I did try to, like, be a little funny with my review, but I gave my honest opinion about it. I generally did like the movie. So yeah, that was my review on Barbie. Now, the movie basically is, obviously, it's a, what's it called? A commentary on society and how men treat women in society and how society treats women in general and how women, we are gaining roles in the government and just like, trying to work on closing the wage gap and like trying to show people that we could be independent, but we can also be people, like we deserve rights, we deserve respect, blase. And Barbie, basically, in the movie, there's like 2 different worlds. There's the real world and there's Barbie Land. And in Barbie Land, the women run the whole, like, the land. They run the country, essentially. They have a black president, a black female president, was played by Issa Rae. Love her, iconic. Of course, she would play the president, as she should. It was Issa Rae. She was a black president. And then they had, like, lawyers, doctors, like, any role that you have in today's society, women had in Barbie Land. And everyone was just fine. And there were Kens and Alan. You can't forget Alan. Now, I'm not gonna... Alan being played by Michael Sienna was honestly the best decision of casting in the entire movie. Like, yes, Margot Robbie playing Barbie and Ryan Gosling playing Ken. Yeah, good. Michael Sienna playing Alan in this movie was the funniest and best decision the casting director made. So the casting director, applause to you. You should win an Oscar just for that alone because the way how Michael Sienna played Alan was hilarious. It was just so... First of all, I didn't even know there was an Alan doll because apparently it's Ken's buddy, which I didn't know. Because, like, I did play with Barbies growing up. I also played with Bratz growing up, but I didn't know the whole, like, history of Barbies and, like, all the roles they had. And also, I just had Barbies and play with them to create stories and stuff like that. That's basically it. But I didn't know there was an Alan. I never had a Ken doll because I'm pretty sure I never cared to have a Ken doll, to be honest. I don't know. I had Barbies, and then I had, like, a box that I could put the Barbies in and stuff like that. And I had Bratz dolls. Loved Bratz dolls. I can make another episode about the Bratz movie, because when that came out in 2008, I will not tolerate a single slander on the Bratz movie. I don't care how old it is. That movie came out in 2008. 9-year-old me was quaking when that movie came out. That was my prime. I was like, oh my gosh, the Bratz movie came out. And it was so good. It was so good. And also, interesting enough, speaking about Bratz, I didn't know this, and I didn't catch on to it. And mind you, I watched the movie twice. Someone on TikTok the other day was talking about how, like, there's an homage to Bratz, the Bratz dolls, in Barbie. Like, Sasha, the daughter of Gloria, her name is Sasha, and then her friends' names are Jade, Chloe, and Yasmin. Now, if you know Bratz, in the movie, the Bratz movie, the 4 main characters are Sasha, Jade, Chloe, and Yasmin. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then the person was saying how, like, when you meet Sasha for the first time and you see her rip Barbie apart first, talking about how, like, she, like, because Margot Robbie's Barbie is stereotypical Barbie. She's a stereotype. And basically Sasha was ripping her apart, saying how she's unrealistic and how she beats women down and how she's like, she makes women fulfill standards that they can never meet. and basically calls her a fascist at one point. And then you're like, dang, Sasha, you ain't gotta be that mean. And the guy was saying how, like, when you meet Sasha for the first time, you see that she's a brat. And she's a brat, but her clique are brats. Essentially, they're supposed to be brats, and they're like little like middle school, but they're the brats dolls. Like, but they're also intellectual women, like girls in school. Like, they're smart. Like, yeah, they're like bratty because they're like telling people off all the time, but they're also smart because what she was saying wasn't really wrong, but like, you know, it was just like, I was like, I didn't even notice that little like inklet of like, and if that's like true, and like Greta, I don't know her last name, but if Greta meant for that to happen, like she did that on purpose, that's amazing. Like, that's like a little bit of like sprinkle in there. Like, when you really take a minute to dissect this movie and realize everything they put into making this movie and the little things they did and how they portrayed things, it's actually a work of art and like deserves to be nominated for the Oscar, I feel like, at this point, because it's a movie talking about how women are being treated in society and how we're sick of being disrespected as human beings. But then also it like does little things like that where it mentions the brats in the Barbie movie without slandering the brats dolls. Like, it's not slandering them and saying they're bad people. It just threw them in there. Like, come on. And then on top of that, in the Bratz movie, like, one of the main scenes that you see them often in is in a school at lunch. And that's when you first meet Sasha. Well, you see memories of her from when Margot's trying to figure out where she's at. But the first introduction to seeing her is at school lunch. And one of the main scenes in Bratz is often at school lunch. It's like, I can't. So that was amazing. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, that's actually pretty cool they did that. But then what really made me want to make this episode was I was seeing a lot of TikToks about how when women see this movie, they're just like, the way how this movie just perfectly described that women just want to be treated as women, but also how like women just want to be treated as human beings, but also how like, because like I said, in Barbie Land, women have all the roles, all the important roles, and the Kens just exist. However, the Kens, even with the Kens just simply existing in Barbie Land, they're still treated like human beings. Like Ken, like Ryan Gosling's Ken, his role is beach. He just stands at the beach and looks pretty, and that's his role. And they was like, in order for him to have like a good day, he's having a good day when Barbie notices him. But then the thing is, he has to be the only Ken. He has to be the only Ken that Barbie notices in order for him to have a good day. Because yeah, like we see like Ken say hi Barbie, and then she's like hi Ken, and then another Ken, which is played by, I forgot his name, but he was the main role in Shang-Chi, also a good movie. But then he's like hi Barbie, and she's like hi Ken. The minute she recognizes another Ken, he's like instantly jealous and angry. And in the beginning, basically he's like, he wants to be the only Ken that she notices because they're supposed to be boyfriend and girlfriend. So then he does this thing where he's at the beach, his role is beach, so he's going to the beach, and then he's trying to like surf to impress her, and then he fails miserably, and then he has to go to like the hospital, and then he's like, oh my gosh, hold my hand Barbie, and she's like, okay Ken, and then he's like, oh don't leave me Barbie, like what, they're like taking him to the hospital, and she's like, you're okay Ken, and she's like, okay, you're okay. And then basically, so with that scenario, like he goes to the hospital, which the hospital is just like, it's just like a toy that just opens up. Also, I have to say, production design, y'all did y'all thing. Production design, like the outfits, the houses, the way how things just open up like an actual toy, like it. I can't focus on one thing at a time. I should have made an outline for this freaking episode. I should have done that to make myself make more sense. But like when they go to the hospital, it's not them going to a real hospital. It's them going to a toy hospital. Like they open it up like a toy, and then he goes to the hospital. It's just like they make everything look fake and real. Like all the items, like even the beginning of the movie when she wakes up and she goes down, like goes to change her outfit. You don't see her putting the clothes on herself. You see the outfit that she wants to change into, and it goes from her in her pajamas, her saying hi to her friends, which all the girls are Barbie. Their names are all Barbie. They say hi Barbie, hi Barbie, hi Barbie. It's just really funny. And then when she goes to change her outfit, she just changes her outfit. Like, you see the outfit, and then you see her in the outfit, and then her closet has a new outfit there. When she takes a shower, there's no water, but she's pretending like there's water running, and it's warm water running. And then when she's brushing her teeth, she has fake toothpaste. You don't see her mouth getting wet, but you can tell she started trying to brush her teeth. She's eating breakfast. The props are fake, but she's pretending like it's real to eat. And then even in the second morning scene where like her water's cold, the milk's expired, like the bread was burnt and the butter fell on the floor, like everything looks fake, and it's supposed to be fake because they're toys. And it's just like, it's a live action movie of Barbie, but they made the people real, but the props still fake. Like, come on set design, y'all did that. It's just, oh, it's just so, like, when you think of stuff, like, even just the way how they made the movie look, it was just, like, I can't. Like, I can't. Like, even if you don't think about the message of the movie, just the way how they did the movie itself, like, it's so good. Like, I can't. Like, I can't. Like, the way how it's just such a good movie, because just the way how they put in the effort to make the dolls look real, but the props they use fake, is insane. When they're in Barbie Land, it's insane. Like, and then when they go from like one house to the other, they like either take a slide or they just be lifted up and put on the floor. They don't take steps. Like, it's just like they make it to where like the way how you would play with a Barbie, how you pick them up from the floor and you put them somewhere, they don't take the stairs. And then when they go in the car, she's literally going from the top floor to the car, and she just floats down, and you see her legs go straight and then slowly bend so she could sit in the car. They make it to where it looks like how you're playing with her in real life. I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand how good that is. Like, it's just everything. Anyway, that's iconic in itself. But also, going back to what I was talking about with Ken. So, like I said, the Kens don't really have roles in Barbie Land. They just simply exist. But like I said, they're still treated like human beings. One example is when Ken is beach, and he tries to go to surf to impress Barbie, and he fails, and he's at the hospital, and he's like, oh, be there with me, support me. And she's like, okay, I'm here, I'm supporting you, I'm with you. The entire time. He goes to the hospital, and then the minute he goes to the hospital, the doctor's like, oh, no broken bones, you're all good. And then one of the girls is like, oh, like, you'll heal in no time. She's like, as a matter of fact, by the time that I finish saying a sentence, you're actually fully healed already. Then Ken goes, I think basically Barbie was like, oh, you were really brave. Because Ken's like, oh, surfing is more dangerous than people think it is. And they're like, yeah, you're right. You were brave for trying to surf like that. Like, yeah, he embarrassed himself, but they're like, you know, like, the fact that you tried is brave in itself. Not once did they belittle him, gaslight him, embarrass him. They just said, you were brave for trying to do that, and like, I'm glad that you're okay. And when Ken was like, hold my hand, Barbie, like, don't leave me, Barbie's like, okay, I'm here, I'm supporting you. Not once did she say, you're being dramatic, oh, stop being sensitive, oh, it wasn't even that big of a deal. Like, even when Ken is supposed to be, because basically the Kens are supposed to be an image of how women are being treated in the real world, essentially. But even still, when the men have no roles, they just simply exist, that's still better. They're still being treated better than how women are being treated in the real world. And that's where it gets crazy, because it's a commentary about how women are being treated. And even when the Kens get a taste of how women get treated in the real world, it's still not to the same degree. Because you want to know why? Because women have all the roles, and they don't want to mistreat the men. They just let them exist. And when they're there, they're like, hey, Ken. They just chill, have parties, have fun, vibe, have girls' night every night, and just have a good time. They don't mistreat the Kens and make them feel like dirt and trash and consider them property. Even when Ken's at the end of the party scene, like, Ken's like, oh, like, I want to go. Basically, he's like trying to like kiss her, and Barbie's like doesn't move a muscle. And then Ken's like, oh, so like, what are you doing tonight? And she's like, oh, I'm gonna go to my house and like have fun with my friends. And he's like, oh, it's girls' night. And she's like, yeah, girls' night. Every night's girls' night. And he's like, okay. And then she goes has fun with her friends. And he's like, I love you too, even though she doesn't love him back. And then he like goes home. Also, The Kens are basically, someone was like, are we not going to talk about how the Kens are practically homeless? Like, we don't know where they live. And the Barbies don't either. So we're like, oh, where do they go? We don't even know. Like, that's the crazy part about it, too, is like, we don't know where they live. But yet and still, when the Kens have no roles and they just exist, they're just existing just to exist. Like, they're just there. And the Barbies are having a good time. Like, they don't want them to be like, oh, like, you're gonna do my laundry. You're gonna, like, be my house husband. Like, they don't treat them like that. They just let them exist and let them do whatever they want. They don't have roles in society, but they just chilling and vibing. And the Kens are fine with it. They, like, at the end, they do ask for roles in society and they get some roles, but, like, never once were the Kens mistreated or treated badly. In the beginning, when you realize that Barbies had all the roles in the society, never once were they mistreated. And that's the crazy part, is that, like, even when women want to have powers, let's say they want to run the world, women don't even want to mistreat men. We just want to have rights. We just want to be people. We just want to exist without people considering us as a property that they could just disrespect and treat like dirt whenever they want to. Like, we just want to exist as human beings and just exist. We just want to exist and be able to be treated like a normal person. And we can't even get that. And then when men get the treatment that women get, it ain't even to the same degree, because they still get treated like a human being at the end of the day. And women don't get that. They don't get sexualized. They don't get objectified. They don't get dehumanized. They just exist. And what's funny is, there's a scene when basically, the next scene I want to talk about is Barbie when her feet go flat, because that's the whole part, that's the whole reason why she goes into the real world, because her feet became flat and she's starting to malfunction. She's thinking about death and all that stuff. So when people see her having flat feet, and the girl doctor that has a ginger hair, and she's like, flat feet, and then everyone's like throwing up. Also, the fact that they're throwing up but nothing's coming out, they're just like bleh, bleh, but nothing is coming out. Also, because they're dolls, so nothing will come out their mouths actually. And it's funny because all the Barbies are throwing up. They're having a normal reaction, and then when the one Ken throws up, they're like, stop that. You're doing too much. And he's like, sorry. That's just like a little snippet of how, like, when men react the way, it's just them reacting. But then a woman could do the exact same thing, and we're dramatic. We're doing too much. We're sensitive. We're emotional. That was just one little snippet of just that type of behavior. And even then, they were just like, Ken, stop. And he was like, sorry. And that was it. That's all they didn't call him names. They didn't make fun of him. They didn't degrade him. They just said stop. And he was like, okay. So, like, even, I can't stress this enough. Even when the Kens were being treated the way how men treat women in the real world, it still wasn't to the same degree. It wasn't to the same degree. It was not even the same level. I can't. Like, I don't think you understand how infuriating it, because when you look back at the movie, because like I said, it's a depiction, it's a small depiction of how men treat women, but it's still not the same, because they don't get called like I already said it like 2 different times. I can't express it enough. So anyway, Barbie Land, Barbies have the idea that women in the real world are being shown through them that they can have equal rights like men, and they can be able to, like, be lawyers and doctors and run the Supreme Court, be president, all that stuff. So when Barbie realizes that she has to go to the real world so that her feet can go back to being healed. Also, a funny little comment that Barbie makes is when she has her flat feet and she's wearing high heels, she's like, if my feet were naturally this flat, I would not wear heels like this. And I was like, girl, who you telling? Anyway, so that was just funny that she just threw that in there. So then when Barbie's in the real world, let's talk about the scene where Barbie and Ken go into the real world. So Barbie and Ken, they have to go through these like 12 different steps to go into the real world, and then they're skating. You know, it was funny because when they were filming this scene at LA, it like was like blowing up on social media of them like roller skating in their outfits. Like, oh my gosh, look at Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling like filming, like, oh, they're filming. And then it came out, it was for the Barbie movie that's coming out soon, blah blah blah. So it's pretty cool to see like the movie in the scene in the movie that like went popular on the internet. So it's pretty cool. So they're in Los Angeles Beach, whatever beach they're at, and they're roller skating. The millisecond And I mean the millisecond. The millisecond Barbie is in the real world, she's sexualized, she's catcalled, she's dehumanized, and she's objectified. And she can feel that just by the men looking at her, whistling at her, and just they didn't, mind you, no one has touched her yet. Just the way how they look at her up and down and like, ooh, I see you. Oh yeah, I want a piece of that. They don't know. The reason why it's hard for me to start talking is because it's just like, when I was watching the movie, it didn't hit me until I'm talking about right now, just how accurate Barbie portrayed how women feel. I don't think men understand how awful it is to daily be sexualized just by, I literally almost cursed right there, just by existing. Oh my gosh. I could literally just like get genuinely upset. Oh my gosh, I have to breathe. Barbie perfectly describes how every woman feels when a man looks at them in the most inappropriate way. Because she's like, people are looking at me weird, and I can sense some weirdness. Like, Barbie is a doll, has no idea what it's like to be a woman in the real world, and the millisecond she enters it, she automatically feels uncomfortable. She automatically feels anxious. And she was like, I feel conscious, but of myself, and I don't know why. And then Ken, on the other hand, is feeling power, encouragement, pride, respect. And he's like, yo, this feels great. Like, I'm enjoying this. And Barbie is expressing how uncomfortable she is, and Ken could give less of a crap about it because of how great he feels. Because Barbie's like, I feel uncomfortable. And he's like, I feel great. I feel no violent undertone at all. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm definitely feeling some violent undertone here. I cannot express this one scene alone enough. Women get sexualized every single day. They go outside, they wear baggy clothes, you're trying to be a boy, oh, stop trying to act like a man. We wear clothes that society has us wear that fit us, and we're a whore, we're a slut, we're trying to do the most. The other day, I literally saw someone say, I don't know where it was from, but it was like, oh, if a woman doesn't want to like kiss you or doesn't want to sleep with you on the first date, it's because they were a whore, but they're trying to heal. They're in the healing era. If a girl doesn't put out on the first date sexually, they're a healing whore. But then if they put out on the first date like you want them to, they're just a regular whore. It couldn't be just because they're just not interested in you. It has to be that we're a whore, we're a slut, we're this, we're that. And then when a man gets called a whore, they're called a man whore, to issue the fact that a whore is originated for women only. And then when a man is a whore, they're not a whore, they're a player. Oh, they get all the girls, oh, they're a player. But then when a woman gets all the guys, they're a slut. That's not even mentioned in the movie. I just have to put that in there, because when I really think about how women get treated in society, it genuinely makes me mad. And then I try my best not to be that woman that's like, oh, men are trash. But the more I live in society and a woman, I'm just like, you men don't help. Oh my goodness. Oh, I can't. I'm gonna get mad. I'm gonna get angry. It makes me get more upset when men complain about women, because the difference when men complain about women is y'all been doing this since the beginning of motherfucking time. Even in the Bible, you know what Adam did when Adam and Eve got caught eating that apple? Oh, it was her fault. The woman that you created, she made me eat it. No, first of all, no one told you to eat the apple. You could have just said no, but you didn't have to show you want to eat the apple, so you ate the apple. That's your fault, not Eve's. But then, the colonizers, when they came to America, because they thought it was India, because their geography was trash, they bring their woman, and they're like, oh, but you can't be citizens because you guys, your biology makes you too emotional. Mind you, the only time when we've had world wars was when men was in control, but whatever. A woman's emotional, but yeah, you could punch a hole in the wall, and that's okay. Because men think that anger ain't an emotion. No, babes, it's an emotion. And y'all the most emotional people in the entire world, because the way how y'all be thinking that you can do whatever you want because you're a man, I can't. Oh, it just makes me mad. It just makes me so angry. It's funny because like in February I made a podcast episode. I didn't upload it, but I made a podcast episode about the things I'm tired of seeing and experiencing as a black woman. Because also, I don't mean to play the oppression Olympics, but being a black woman is so freaking hard for no freaking reason, because you people are insufferable. Insufferable. Especially black men. I'm gonna bang against the table. I can't. Black men, I cannot stand some of them, because black men have the biggest hatred for black women, and I don't understand why. Because you know what's crazy? When men have mommy issues, they hate on women and want to kill us. When women have daddy issues, we just pick the wrong men to date. I don't understand the balance and I don't. I don't understand the power dynamic. I'm gonna have a mental breakdown. I can't. This is what Barbie does to you. No, I can't. I can't. I can't. I did not expect this to happen, but this is just like the Barbie movie just shows how like women are just so objectified and just mistreated just by simply existing. And then now that women are standing up for themselves and saying what they want to do with their bodies and just like not agreeing with what men have set the standard for, we're gross. Oh, y'all want to be like, and then when people talk about the feminist movement and how, because some people we're talking about how this movie is like it's a feminist movie and blah blah blah, and if you're a man who watched the Barbie movie, you're a beta man. If you had to say that you're an alpha male, I guarantee you half the women that look at you want to punch you in your face, myself included. I don't even know how to express that enough. That like I just don't understand when men have the freaking audacity. Like, I don't mean to make this a hating, and mind you, I made a whole other video on my YouTube channel about like my rant about men. And the Barbie movie just reminded me. It didn't make me angry about men, but when I dissect the movie, it makes me realize how much they were exactly saying about men, even just by how women, just like I said, just them entering the real world alone shows you enough about how women get treated. No one said anything to her. No one touched her. Just by the way they were looking at her, she already felt uncomfortable. Every time I walk out my freaking house, I have to give men the freaking death stare just so they won't look at me and objectify me and want to try to catcall me and talk to me. Every freaking day. I can't express this enough how I am, like, I want to wear nice outfits and then I doubt wearing them just because I know I'm gonna get attention, and then a man that I don't want talking to me is going to try to flirt with me, and if I show them I'm not interested, I have to think if they're gonna hurt me or not. Women just deny men politely and get freaking murdered. I don't think I understand how infuriating it is to see women just reject men and they get murdered for it. Men don't have to worry about that. Not as often as women do. When have you heard a story of a man being murdered by a woman because they were rejected? Yeah, sure, maybe they were stalked. I mean, I will say there are some women that are psychotic and will stalk you and slow burn kill you, but men just straight up kill on the spot, or they follow you and SA you in public or behind closed doors. Domestic relationships are, some women are abusers in domestic relationships. I will say that. But it's still more common for men to be the abuser than the woman. I just can't express enough how infuriating it is. And then like all these problems that men have created. And then have the freaking audacity to wonder why women don't like men. and then have the audacity to be mad when women express their opinions or the reason why they're scared of men and can't trust men until they get to know them more, why they have their doubts about being around men they don't know. Oh, now I can't even do this anymore because a woman's gonna think this. And it's just like, the fact that you're complaining that you can't do certain things anymore because you're scared you're gonna be called out, or a woman's scared but I didn't even do anything. Okay, but you're also not helping solve the issue, so you're the problem. Like, in all seriousness, I'm saying this as a black woman. Men do better. If a woman is talking about their issues about men, it's not to belittle, to degrade, and objectify you like you do to us. It's to express our issues with you so you could do better. It's to give you a chance to change as a human being so we don't have these issues anymore. That's why we say these things. Some women, yeah, they have the radical women where they're like, oh, like, we don't need men. We don't want men. Men are trash. Men are this. Yeah, sure. But here's the thing. Y'all were complaining about people saying stuff like that when it was men saying it to women. Now all of a sudden, when the roles are reversed, now all of a sudden you have an issue with that. But when your homeboys were saying that about women, you would just secretly laugh with them, or you'd be like, chill, or like, oh, whatever, that's just their opinion, I don't agree with it. You wouldn't stand up to them, though. You wouldn't tell them that what they said was wrong and they should stop being disrespectful. And maybe some of you did. And to those men, thank you for being a normal person. And to the men that weren't, do better. Do better. I don't know what else to say to just, besides just do better. How do you do better? You listen to women. You actually listen to them. Take a second to listen to them. Second of all, get your emotions in order. If you have issues, whether it's anger issues or you don't know how to communicate or whatever issues you have, figure out your emotions. Third of all, stop being scared to be feminine. And I don't mean like, oh, like you have to like want to wear makeup and wear a skirt. Because I know some people are going to think that way. Because it's like, first of all, why you got to go to the extreme left or right? Like, don't be afraid to just, like, be a human being. Like, if you get emotional and you're like, oh, that's mad gay. Because, first of all, I'm pretty sure there are gay men out there that act more masculine than you, first of all. So get your nipples out of a twist or whatever. Like, I have no other words to say besides just, like, don't be, like, if people had to insult you by saying you're feminine, what type of insult is that? What are we, in elementary school? And mind you, half the time that's being said is by, like, grown men. Like, how are you a grown man in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s being like, oh, that's mad feminine, that's mad gay? Like, there are worse things to be. Like a serial killer, a SA'er. Oh, wait, y'all already are that. So that's why it's not that bad. Anyway. Let's go back to the movie because that's the whole purpose of this episode. So the minute Margot Robbie experiences the real world, she's like, oh my gosh, this is actually not a fun experience. I don't like this. And then we see how when the guy smacks her butt and she the way how she instantly decks him in the face with no hesitation, pure joy. I enjoyed that scene. I did because I remember the first time that happened to me when a guy that I didn't know, I was on a bus and a guy like touched my butt and I was like, hello? And at first I didn't know what was happening. Like I just felt something and my phone was in my back pocket. So I was just like, okay, whatever. And then it happened again and there was a guy looking mad suspicious. So I looked at him and I'm like, can you stop? And he was like, what? And I was like, can you stop? Stop touching me. And then he got off the next stop. You know when that happened to me? I was 14. I was inappropriately touched by a man at 14. I was coming home from school. It was a regular day from school, and I came home, and I was inappropriately touched by a man at 14. I can't express enough. So when that happened and she decked him in the face with no hesitation, I was like, yes, defend yourself. And then, of course, she gets arrested. Because why else would... And mind you, the guy that touched her didn't go to jail. Because why would he? When she defended herself, she was the one that got arrested. And even the cops that were like taking her fingerprints were sexualizing and objectifying her. Like, oh, I like leotards. Oh, leotard looks good on you. And she's like, oh, we need to change our outfit. Then they change it to different outfits, which is funny because they didn't have money to they just thought they could just change the outfits without paying for it. And the guy's like, yo, you gotta pay for that. And they start running and they get arrested again. Her outfit was good. It was a nice outfit. And then when she's wearing more clothes that are more appropriate, oh, he's like, actually, I like the fact that you have more clothes on because you can imagine how it would look with her clothes off, or like you can see more now. And that just kind of just like subtly talked about, it doesn't matter what a woman wears, they're going to get objectified regardless. Because if a man thinks you're attractive, they're going to objectify you regardless. That was just the beginning of her being, that was the first 2 scenes of her being in the real world. She was automatically objectified, sexualized, and mistreated. In the first few seconds, the first 2 or 3 scenes of her being in the real world, she's already being treated like a woman in the way of how sexuality and how she is treated sexually. Anyway, so that happened. So now we could talk about how Ken, when he's like, and mind you, while this is all happening, not once did Ken try to defend Barbie, stand up for Barbie, or even like say, hey, stop. Like, he didn't bat an eye. He was like, this world is great because men are respected. Whoa. Well, what, and what I was thinking about this last night. I'm shocked because in the scene, when Ken was like in the same scene when they're roller skating, Ken was like, oh, everyone's looking at me too, because Barbie's like, everyone's looking at me and I feel uncomfortable. And he's like, well, they're looking at me too. And there was 2 gay guys that looked at Ken and were like, yeah, we're looking at you, like, ooh, you hot. I'm surprised Ken didn't punch them in the face because, you know, alpha men, we gotta defend ourselves, we can't be called gay. Like, y'all look like freaking idiots, like a 12-year-old just that before puberty dropped. Like, don't make me started. Anyway, I'm surprised that they didn't make Ken do that because, like I said, it's crazy how like even when Kens are being are like they have an ounce of like how women are being treated, they still don't even fully depict how men are, because if it was an alpha male, they would have wanted to be like, oh, what'd you say about me? Why you looking at me like that? Why you acting mad gay? What's this about? Like, pathetic in my opinion, but whatever. So yeah, so it was just really like it, like even like I'm surprised they didn't make Ken do that because he was just so excited about like being like seen as a person. He was like, wow, this is great. And then it's funny, like the little comedy things when like I think Barbie's trying to figure out where the person that she has to find is, and then she's like, okay, I'm gonna sit at this bench and think. And then Ken's like, oh, I hate when I can't do things. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm just walking around here. I'm mad bored. And she's like, okay, go for a walk. And he's like, go for a walk? She's like, yeah, just go for a walk. Just go do something. And in the scene when he's like walking, and then, mind you, he's walking away from her, but he's like grilling her the entire time. And he's like, and then she's like, don't go too far. Homeboy's in a whole other freaking side of the country at this point. Not really, but like he's like at a building, whatever. So then this is when he starts realizing that like men have power in this world, and he's about to learn about patriarchy, which, oh my gosh. First of all, I found it kind of insane that because like basically Ken learns about patriarchy when he reads books about it, and they have books about patriarchy in a middle school library. Huh? Like, I was like, let's think about this real quick. Why is there a patriarchy book in a middle school library? That's weird. But whatever, I digress. But yeah, so he learns about patriarchy. Then we see how, then we see just like him learning about patriarchy and him being excited. And just like, when the next thing that I want to talk about, I'm going to skip past Sasha meeting Barbie and calling her fast just to make Barbie cry. I'm going to skip past that because that was just, I kind of already talked about it anyway. But then when Ken sees Barbie being put into a car with a bunch of strangers that they don't know, well, then they said they're Mattel, and he's like, oh, it's Mattel. He's like, should I go try to help her in this random car that actually looks like a car that I would want? And then he's like, nah, she'd be alright. I'm gonna go back to Barbie Land and introduce them to patriarchy. And then when Barbie is in Mattel and is about to be put in the box to go back to Barbie Land, she goes, oh wait, but we need Ken. Ken should come too. And then they're like, nah, we don't need Ken. We don't really care about Ken. Then she's like, okay. But the fact that she was like, at least wanted him to be there to go for the ride, and Ken was like, nah, I'll just leave her. She'd be alright. Like, come on! Even when women have the higher power in the relationship, basically, Ken loves Barbie. Barbie doesn't love Ken, but Barbie stays with Ken because she's told to stay with him. So she doesn't lead him on, make him believe that she's in love with him. She's just acknowledging that that's her boyfriend. That's just how it is. She's like, well, I'm stereotypical Barbie, so I'm gonna just do what people tell me to do. That's what she's doing. And then even when she has the higher up in the relationship, she still, in a way, treats him like an equal. Lets him like come up. Like, first of all, she was gonna go to the Rua by herself, and he tagged along without asking. And she's like, no, you have to get the car. He's like, no, I can't, because I already told the other Ken that I am coming, and if I go back there, I'm gonna be embarrassed. You can't embarrass me in front of the Kens. And she's like, alright, fine, I guess you can come. And then he's like, can I sit in the front? And she's like, no. Like, she sets boundaries, but she still lets him come. And when they're about to go back to Barbie Land, she's like, oh wait, we should bring Ken too. So even when she has a higher up in the relationship, she still wants to include him. And when it came to him eventually starting to gain power, he's like, forget Barbie, I'm just gonna go do my own thing. I can't stress this enough. I can't stress the commentary. Just by the way how they're acting. They're like the dialogue, it was show, don't tell. It was in our faces, and you just have to read between the lines like I can't stress this enough. The way how they just show it. They like specifically they do 99% showing and a little bit of telling. And it's just actually insane. So now I kind of want to skip towards the end of the movie where the parts, because basically I'm just talking about scenes of the movie that like just show how women are tired of being mistreated. The part where Gloria, who, by the way, I had no idea until my friends pointed out to me that she was the main lead in Ugly Betty. I didn't know that. I was like, she's Ugly Betty? I was like, oh my gosh, I love that show. But I didn't watch the full show. But like, I watched a few episodes and I was like, oh my gosh, I love that show. And that's Gloria, queen. Anyway, her speech, I can't even, her speech about how women, like someone, I saw on TikTok, someone just put a like slideshow, just not a slideshow, but a picture of Gloria's speech, just speaking. I gotta find the speech because I don't think you understand how crazy it is that she just said that speech with her whole chest and just said everything that described what women go through. I gotta like Gloria's speech. The fact that it's a thing that like her monologue, I had to find it. Because I'm gonna see if I can find it. I don't know where it's at. I don't think I can find it. Hold on. I'm gonna find this thing. Because I don't think you guys understand how like freaking... Oh, I think... Here it is. I'm gonna freaking get my phone out. I'm gonna read this speech. This monologue. Because it's literally... I can't stress this enough. It goes. It is literally impossible to be a woman. You are so beautiful and so smart, and it kills me that you don't think you're good enough. Like, we have to always be extraordinary, but somehow we're always doing it wrong. You have to be thin, but not too thin, and you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy, but also you have to be thin. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the damn time. You have to be a career woman, but also always be looking out for other people. You have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane, but if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men, but not so pretty that you tempt them too much or that you threaten other women because you're supposed to be a part of the sisterhood. But always stand out and always be grateful, but never forget that the system is rigged. So find a way to acknowledge that, but also always be grateful. You have to never get old, never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. It's too hard. It's too contradictory, and nobody gives you a medal or says thank you. And it turns out, in fact, that not only are you doing everything wrong, but also everything is your fault. I'm just so tired of watching myself and every single other woman tie herself into knots so that people will like us. And if all of that is also true for a doll just representing women, then I don't even know. What really gets me about this monologue is the line when she's like, and it turns out, in fact, that not only are you doing everything wrong, but also everything is your fault. I don't think that you understand. It is so hard living in a world that doesn't like you. It is hard living in a world that tells you how to live your life, and the minute you don't agree, you're being called all these names, and you're constantly in fear of your life because of other people and how they think of you and how they want to deal with you and just their opinion about you as a person and as a male or female. What's infuriating to me as a woman, like I said earlier, is when men complain about women. Because 9 times out of 10, when men complain about women, it's issues that they have about women that they won't help solve. When men complain about women, it's not to help them become better. It's to make them feel better about themselves, to make them feel worse about themselves, to tell them all the flaws about them without any intent on helping them. Because you could say women can't drive or they're bad drivers all you want, but if you're not going in the passenger seat and helping them learn how to be a better driver, I don't want to hear nothing. You can complain all you want about women taking forever to get ready, but if you're not going to do my hair, if you're not going to do my makeup, you're not going to help me pick an outfit, I don't want to hear you speak. Shut up. Respectfully, politely, and intriguingly. I am sick to my motherfucking stomach of men complaining about women and not trying to help us become better with all these flaws you guys are creating about us. Because when a woman complains about a man, it's about issues about how they feel when men say certain things and how they just don't like being disrespected. When men complain about women, it's about they don't please me enough or they're just being annoying. When I really think about it, it makes me sick to my freaking stomach. And I have to take a step back and acknowledge that it's not all men, but it's too many. It's too many. Growing up in middle school, ever since I went to school actually, even in elementary school, the one thing that I did not tolerate was a boy trying to check me or trying to disrespect me. I never let a man disrespect me ever in my life. Never. And then when I felt disrespect, it was from adults. But then after 8th grade, I was like, I ain't doing this no more. So in high school, I was a freaking menace to my teachers when I felt disrespected because I was tired of being a young adult, a child being disrespected by adults just because of the age bracket. It was ridiculous, sick and twisted and dumb to me. So I was sick of it. So I stopped tolerating it. And yeah, I could have done better, but I was a child. You're the freaking adult acting like a 2-year-old having a tantrum over a kid being a kid. I'm not gonna get into that. I can't get into it. But I never let a boy, whenever a boy tried to check me, I quickly told them, I am not the one. You have the wrong one today. Because I can check you. And it's not even to like disrespect them, because I only do it when they try it. Like they'll try me and I'm like, wrong one. Wrong one, right day. Because I ain't doing this with you. And I even done it literally up until college. I didn't do it as often in college. I didn't need to. But there was like this one guy I just couldn't tolerate. There was a few other guys too. But like, I mean, and I will say it wasn't just only men. Like some girls too. Like not really in like. There was just some girls that like I did, and like when I was like in elementary school, middle school, that I did like had to like stand up to because like they were trying to like either bully me or just like they were just being annoying. I was like, no, you can't do that. But like it was different with men and with boys because it was like society tells them they can do that. It's okay for them to do that. And it was just like with a woman, it's like, you know, I'm just like, girl, what you doing? Like, stop. And then also Sasha, the daughter of Gloria, brings up the comment of, men hate women, women hate women. It's the one thing we can both agree on. Mind you, the character's a tween. She's not even in high school yet, and she has that realization. Barbie, when you really look at the movie, it's more than just men having little to no roles in Barbie Land. It's about the way how women are being treated, and how even when men are being treated similar to how women are treated, it still is not the same degree. It's not. Because if Barbie depicted accurately how women are being treated, the Kens would be miserable. They would. I could go on about more scenes about the Barbie movie, but it's just like, it really, like, when I first watched the movie, I was like, oh my gosh, this movie is so good. It's so accurately depicted about women and how, like, you know, when women sit together, because basically when Ken goes to Barbie Land to introduce patriarchy, it becomes Kendom, and then Barbie's like, oh no. But then the women band together to, like, fix it and basically make it Barbie Land again. And Gloria's monologue about how annoying it is to be a woman in the real world. Like some of the women that were brainwashed, one woman that won a Nobel Prize for being a writer, she was brainwashed and thinking patriarchy was a good thing. When she heard Gloria's monologue, it snapped her out of the brainwashing. She was like, yo, you're right. Like, this is crazy. So the women band together to make it to where they basically play on the men's insecurities. They boost their ego up, and right when their ego's at the peak, they knock them down just by a little bit, just by making them envious of each other, because also in the beginning of the movie, they were already jealous of each other when they didn't have roles in society. Because when Ken was trying to impress Barbie with the surfing, because he saw how the other Ken looked at Barbie and he was jealous. So now when they have higher roles in society, they still have those insecurities, but it's just they have power now, so they're not thinking about it as much. But it's still there. So then when the women use that against them, they're tearing each other apart. But then the crazy part is, again, like I said, even when the Kens are supposed to be portraying how women get treated, it's not to the same degree, because even when the Kens, like towards the end of the movie, when they have like a whole number, they're dancing, they're singing, it's really funny. Their like whole battle scene, again, the props, iconic. They're so fake, and it's just amazing. It's funny. But then they have a dance number when Ken's like, I'm just Ken, and it's so funny. Even then, at first, they're fighting against each other, but at the end, they're like holding hands and they're a union again. They're like, I'm just Ken. But like, it's okay. You know what I mean? Like they were fighting, but then they become friends again. Because, you know, they say that how like men, they argue and they get over in a few seconds. So like they banded together and they stayed close friends, and they were good again. Like they weren't the best of friends, but they were good again. And it was just like, if it was women attacking each other, it would have been way worse, because like they say, oh, when women fight, it's worse because of the dramas and that. It's like, yeah, because when women have to fight other women, they feel like they need to fight for their title to please a man. Because when guys fight over a girl, they fight and then they get over it. When women fight over a guy, it's a brutal World War III. Because society has brainwashed women to believe that they cannot be on the same level. They had to be one on top of the other. And they had to fight it out to the death just so they could be treated like a human being, to then still be mistreated by that man because they're looking at another woman. So even when they're dancing, they're fighting, they get over themselves and they still band together. And I feel like a lot of, like, I know that, like, some men probably offended by this movie because, like, oh, like, it's a feminist movie and it makes men look like chumps or whatever. And then it's crazy because also the number scene, if you're embarrassed by, like, men dancing, I'm pretty sure the scene where they're dancing with the black outfits on, I'm pretty sure that's an homage to the Grease movie, if I'm not mistaken. I've never seen Grease, so I actually don't know. But they showed a clip of the Grease the movie of the guys dancing. I'm pretty sure John Travolta plays the lead in that movie. But, like, that was a masculine thing for men to do in the Grease movie. So I'm pretty sure they just did it in the Barbie movie the same, pretty similar. So it's like, that was supposed to be them being masculine or whatever. But then also, the thing is, in Kenland, they're still not 100% portraying men because none of them feel insecure about their masculinity. None of them do. And alpha men do. That's why they feel the need to be alpha. Why would you feel the need to show how much of a leader and how much dominance you have over women if you weren't secure in yourself? Let's be real. So, like, even though the Kens are showing, like, it's supposed to show men how women feel, they still don't get treated the same as women do. And they don't 100% accurately depict men because they kind of depict the men that women will be okay with existing. But you know why? Now that I'm really thinking about this, probably the reason why the women were okay with Ken just existing is because they didn't feel threatened by the Kens. Not because they didn't have any roles, but because never once did a Ken try to threaten to harm the Barbies, even when they had power. They weren't like, you better listen to me or else. You better listen to me or else I'm gonna beat you up. I'm gonna slap you across the face. They didn't use violence to have power over the Barbies once. They just was like, you're gonna be either my housewife or you're going to be my long distance committed girlfriend. Like, even when they were mistreating the Barbies, it still wasn't to the same degree that men would have. So even though they were being trashy, it wasn't to the full degree that men do in the real world. It's crazy. Like, the thing is, the crazy part is, when Kens are being bad people, it still wasn't the full potential of horrific that they could have been. Greta was doing y'all a favor by sparing how bad y'all really could have been. I digress. I freaking digress. I've been talking for like over an hour at this point about this movie. But all I'm going to say to end this whole spiel about the Barbie movie is that when I came out from the watch this movie, I literally remember me and my friends watched it. And then for the whole movie to end with the Barbie song from Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice and like Annabelle like a Barbie. I'm a double similar party. Like, come on. It was great. And I was kind of disappointed because I saw a TikTok of people watching the movie and everyone was singing to the song. And the movie that I went to with my friends, not one person was singing the song. And I was like, but to be fair, I was in the suburban area. So I was like, y'all just don't get it. Y'all just don't get it. Y'all just don't get it. Anyway, there was one girl that was next to me that was dancing, but like her friend would be mad annoying during the trailers. I didn't even care. But I digress. Also, I just want to throw in that like, what was it? The last song, which is Billie Eilish's song, What Was I Made For? I watched her music video and I thought it was pretty cool because like her, like, you know, having the outfits, well, the outfits that she wore in her own career. And then I didn't realize that I just thought her outfit was just an outfit. But then when I watched the movie, her outfit is a yellow dress. And when the song plays in the movie, Barbie's wearing a yellow dress. I was like, oh, snap. Okay, Billie, I see y'all. I see y'all doing your thing. So that I thought that was pretty cool. So just the soundtrack, just with the way how artists were like doing artwork with this movie outside, just by doing their own music video and own music, but then also tying it. The soundtrack is amazing with the music that's on the song and not even in the song, but just the soundtrack's amazing. The message behind the movie is just to show men how women feel uncomfortable with the way how they're being treated and just want to be treated like a human being. And then they still don't get it. And it's like, the sad part about it is the men that don't get it are the men that are supposed to pay attention. But of course they won't get it because they're stuck in their ignorant ways and are too prideful to understand that this isn't a movie to make fun of men. This is a movie for men to pay attention to, about the treatment, about what women are trying to say to them. And I know in my review I say it's a movie made by women for women, because it's for women to help express their opinion about how they're sick and tired of being treated like objects and want to be treated like a human being for once in their lives. So there's that. I absolutely love the movie. I wouldn't watch it a third time, I don't think, because I feel like I need to give myself a break from it. But like, I watched it twice because what I wanted to do, I wanted to watch Oppenheimer first and then watch Barbie, because Oppenheimer is a biopic about the atomic bomb. Like, come on, I wanted to end on a happy note with Barbie, and then my friends wanted to watch Barbie first and then Oppenheimer, and I was like, I don't want to do that, but okay. And then when we watched Oppenheimer, she was like, I need to watch Barbie again, because we just loved. I could talk about that movie in itself too. I have to watch it again to fully be able to like make a whole other podcast episode about it, but I probably will, because that movie, it was good. And it also even has a commentary about America's government, which is a whole other topic. So that's why I'm not going to talk about too much in this movie. But it was like, when you really think about how messed up the government is, you just like, dang! Like, oh my gosh, it's actually sick and twisted and disgusting. So, I'll talk about that later. So then after we watched Oppenheimer, she was like, we gotta watch Barbie. And mind you, I was leaving Sunday, like, because my friend had to work. I was staying at her house for the weekend, and she had to work at like 12 o'clock on Sunday. But then we were like, what if we watch Barbie early in the morning before I like leave? Because when she's going to work, I was going to have to go home. So it was like, what if we just watch Barbie at 9 o'clock in the morning? And like 9:45 in the morning. And then she just goes to work right after. She like left a few minutes like towards the end because the movie theater and her job was like on the same block. So she just left a few minutes before the movie ended. So we watched Barbie again. So we had, basically my friend was like, it's a Barbie sandwich where we watched Barbie, Oppenheimer, Barbie again. I saw someone put a meme of like, if you watch Oppenheimer first, you're actually, if you watch Barbie first, you're insane. And I was like, I was thinking the same thing, because I feel like you gotta watch Oppenheimer first just to watch it, explore it, appreciate it. But then to end on a happy note, you gotta watch Barbie, so you gotta be in a good mood. Because when me and my friends watched Barbie for the first time, after that, we watched it like at like 7 or something. We got out. We didn't want to go home yet, so we was like driving, and we went to the beach, and we just walking on the boardwalk, and we were just talking about the movie, how great it was and all that stuff. And then we ended it with like a group hug. One of my friends was like, can we like have a group hug? And I was like, yeah. And we just group hugged. And it was just like, because seeing women band together to like help one another, it was just like so like, oh, I was like, oh my gosh, I love women. And it's like, it didn't make me hate being a woman. Like, the way how, like, I'm analyzing the movie now, I'm like, bro, it's upsetting what the movie really was showing. But when I watched it, because it ended on a good note, I was like, wow. Like, there's, like, this TikTok sound that's like, I love being a woman. I do. Because, like, as frustrating and annoying as it is, the only reason why people hate being a woman is because of the way how men treat women. If men were just human beings and just treated us like human beings, we wouldn't hate wanting to be a woman. I'm just saying. But yeah, I have nothing else. Well, I feel I'm just gonna say the same things over and over again. So I will just end with this. First of all, I'm really sweaty, and because I have my fan up, I have to turn the fan on. I'm hot. I really loved this movie. It was really good. You would never expect a movie about toys to represent what it was representing, and just the messages behind the movie and what it was saying, which showing and not telling. As a film student, when I look back at it and I analyze this movie, I'm like, oh my gosh, Greta did her thing. I also didn't realize, but I recently found out by one of my friends told me, she was also the director of Little Woman. I love Little Women, the movie, the remake with Emma Watson in it, and I forgot her name. It starts with an S, but she was in Lady Bird. I love that Emma Watson's in it. The girl from Lady Bird's in it. Florence Pugh is in it, and Timothée Chalamet. I love all of them. That Little Woman is such a good movie. I remember I saw that in theaters with the same friends too, and like someone else too. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love Little Women. I love the movie so much because I related to Joe because Joe was the writer in the movie, and I was like, I love a movie about writers. I eat it up every single time because it's even just like writers, actors, artists. I love movies about artists because it, as an artist, it inspires me to keep going and to pursue my passion as a career. I love it. I eat it up. Like La La Land, I ate it up. I love that movie. Yeah, so that's it. I'm gonna stop talking because I'm sweaty and I wanna relax and breathe for a little bit. Yeah, so that's it for today's podcast episode. This was like basically a movie, almost as long as the Barbie movie itself. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And if you didn't, I don't know what to say. I have no opinions about what you have to say because, you know, whatever. Hope you guys enjoyed me having like a little rant about the Barbie movie. And I'm going to be, I don't know if I should make this a YouTube series or just on my podcast because as you can see, I'm very passionate about movies because I want to be in the movie industry. Oh, I didn't mention this in the beginning, but the writer's strike, the writers and actors strike. Of course, I'm in support of it because, hello, I want to be in the WGA myself in the future. Production companies, pay your writers. Pay your actors. Let them be able to make a living off of the money that they're making you. Like, come on. You're a billionaire, trillionaire, being like, it's disturbing what they're fighting for. They're fighting for to be able to pay their freaking rent, dude. The audacity. The caucasity of these... I can't. Anyway. Pay your writers. I'm in support of the writers and actors strike. I find it kind of weird that I didn't even know about the writer's strike until the actors joined it, which I feel like is a little bit kind of sucky because the writers were in strike for 11 weeks and then the screenwriters joined. The actors joined because they're contracted with SGA ended, so now they were able to go on strike. I also find it very interesting that this strike happened right when the Barbie and Oppenheimer premieres were going on, so they had to stop midway. They were like towards the end, but it was like close, so they had to stop promoting these movies now because of the strike. But I'm in full support of the strike. Pay your writers because I would want to get paid for the movies and TV shows that I write. I would love to get paid. I want to make a living off of my writing, you know. Pay your writers. Pay your actors. Let them be able to live and not just have the money all to yourself so you can go on a yacht to see a man that has 10 yachts. Get over yourself. Pay your writers because if you look at what they're asking for and the statistics of how much money they'll lose by giving the actors and writers what they want is actually less than like 2% of what they make a year. It's actually disgusting how they're refusing to pay people. Like they would lose less than 2%. It's like 0.01, 0.025. It's actually disgusting how little amount of money they'll lose by paying these people well wages. But also that just shows how like society and America as a country, how businesses will exploit the crap out of their workers. It's disgusting. It's ridiculous. And also UPS is about to go on strike if they're not on strike already. Like, I'm telling y'all, people that own businesses oftentimes exploit their workers. I'm not gonna make more comments about that because I might. Anyway, so yeah, so that's it for this podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed listening and watching this. Thank you guys for watching and listening to this. If you want to follow the podcast Instagram, it's just at randomchatswana. If you want to follow my personal Instagram and my TikTok, it's just at Ananda Cash. I deleted Twitter. I don't have Twitter anymore, but you can follow me on Threads. I think it's just my Instagram account at Ananda Cash, or whatever it is I put on the screen. Yeah, and that's it. If you're listening to this on Spotify, please give the podcast a 5-star rating so they'll know to boost it up so the algorithm can have more people watch it. If you watch it on YouTube, please like and comment. If you agree, leave your comments down below. If you watched the Barbie movie, what was your opinion on Barbie movie? What was your intake on it? Or just comments, or like if you have any suggestions of what topics you want me to talk about, leave them down in the comments down below. like, and subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel because I do the podcast on my YouTube channel, but also I make YouTube videos as well. I'm thinking about doing a film series again on my YouTube channel. They might be long videos, but I think I might just do it anyway because I love talking about movies and I feel really passionate about talking about movies. So I think I'm going to do a series, my film critic series. I'm going to do it a bit different though this time. But yeah, stay tuned for that. I might do that soon. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys in my next episode. Bye.